It's a Tuesday night. Why are we in the car?
We don't have the race car behind us, but we are heading to our favorite parts person, Oval Speed Unlimited, to see our buddy Dennis, because he has tires for us.
Ooh.
He had tires for us last week, but on his part, he kind of messed up the phone numbers.
He didn't have my number. He put the guy below us and put the same number twice.
So he was like, we got to the racetrack this past week, and he goes, I've been trying to get in touch with you.
Like, no, you haven't.
I don't have your phone number.
I ignore most phone calls, but I put your numbers in there.
So, not that it's a big deal. We have good tires on our car. It's not like, oh my God.
But you're never going to say no to a set of stickers.
No. So, we're on our way to Oval Speed Unlimited to pick up our 4 tires instead of the normal 2 we've gotten the last couple of years.
Couple years? We've only been doing this for a year.
Hopefully, Hoosier is catching up with their production. Understand everything. I'm not bad-mouthing anybody here. Listen.
Hopefully the supply chains have cleared out a little bit.
My thought on tires. All right, this is going to be a tangent that's going to be either lengthy or going to make it really quick. In our division, Legend Race Cars, the tires that we use are very hard compound. The amount of advantage you have with new tires is roughly about 15 laps. Some of that's half a feature, some of it's 3/4 of a feature, depending on where you race. It takes 5 to 10 laps to get the newness wore off of them, so they get real good, real sticky, and that lasts 15 to 20 laps.
If you're lucky.
So, within a day of racing, we put on anywhere from 20 to 35-ish laps. So if I put a set of stickers on the car, wear them in, do 2 rounds of practice, a heat race, either the B main feature, B main and the feature, where those tires are just at where we had 6-month-old tires or 6 races old tires, whatever. Everybody's so hyped up on what NASCAR does that, oh, I need tires.
Even the other divisions.
No, you don't.
Not for us.
Not for our division. It's one of those things that I want to learn how to set up my race car on older tires. So, because that's where mostly we're going to have. It's not like I'm going to be buying tires every week. I'm not a modified. I'm not a street stock. We have a blunderbuss division that races, Hoosier tires and stuff like that. If you can get your car to handle for a long period of time on somewhat used tires or tires that are been used, you're better off. Don't always count on the newness of a tire to gain that 2/10 that's only going to last you 20 laps.
And you won't even be able to put that to full effect when you're racing, 20 other guys.
You know what I'm saying? So my advice, and if people want to comment and give me their opinions on this stuff, no, new tires are great, but for our division, you can run all season on our tires. You might lose 2/10 over the season. Then again, if you're looking for 2/10 to go from 10th to 1st in speed, that's what you want to do. But for the majority of the people, clean them every week, take care of them, and don't run into people, and you'll have a set of tires for the whole season. I'll be back. Peace out. So you leave the door open, crazy people come up.
No, I left the door open and the crazy person walked in before.
Oh, okay. Kevin? No.
Me?
Oh, well, that's... He has them somewhere.
We got our awesome parts shop.
Well, you're going to be on our YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
Smile.
Your inventory.
Dennis is amazing.
No.
I usually come out here during the week and you're cleaning tires, not wrapping tires.
Well, this is a new set of tires.
Yes, see that nice fancy sticker on them? This is the set that we were picking up from Dennis.
We are going to preserve these tires. There's a lot of people who like to wrap tires to keep the moisture in them.
Usually the higher divisions with softer tires.
But we're not going to run these right away. But we're making a bunch of wholesale. We're changing a lot on the car.
We're just taking a couple big swings.
Again, this is for mostly our learning process as far as what springs, changing your spring and how does it affect the car. We've kind of hit a wall time-wise as far as our lap times go. Mostly due to my part of over-driving the turns.
But he's getting better. He is getting better.
This all goes back from when we first got the car. It was somebody's backup car. Perfect starter car. It got us our feet wet and stuff like that. We did get a new different chassis. I won't say new. A different chassis. We had it on a jig, and we know this chassis is straight. The old chassis is on the side, waiting for the jig to be available, and we're going to send that over there and make sure if that is straight or if it was bent. By the naked eye, it looks like there was some difference between this chassis and the other chassis.
Just something looks off.
So, I'm not going to say the chassis was the problem and stuff like that, but now I'm learning how to drive into a turn, trying to roll the center, and where we're losing the most time to the front runners is corner exit. So we're trying different springs. Somebody who's very knowledgeable noticed that my car had a lot of body roll. We were running kind of soft springs in the back. We did change springs the last time we were out, and the car was better.
Yes, it definitely was better.
Overall, the track was 2/10 slower.
Well, yeah, because Mother Nature was like, ha ha ha.
So when the guy who won our feature this past week, congratulations, Jeffrey, talked to him afterwards, and really nice kid, love him to death. He goes, yeah, everybody was 2/10 off. So my times were 1/10 off.
If that, you were pretty much in.
You know, I haven't lost. When people lose 2/10 from the front runners, I kind of say the same. But I haven't yet got over that hump into the next level of speed. Again, this is my second full-time year driving these cars with no prior experience racing on the racetrack or anything with these cars. So I'm learning how to drive. And I'm learning how to drive on one of the hardest cars to drive. Thus, the Legends car. We're learning.
Full motorcycle engine, light, cooperate.
Yes, that's our emotions.
This is the worst light ever. I mean, it's useful, but motorcycle engine can probably easily hit 100 miles per hour on a straightaway.
These cars have clocked over 100 miles an hour on, I do believe, New Hampshire's front straightaway.
Probably, but the whole car is, we have a
small hard tires. Power to weight ratio is it's a handful to drive. Don't get me wrong.
1,300 pound car, 1250 cc engine.
So
tires that really don't wear out.
So I'm learning how to adjust. I have to learn how to adjust when I'm at the racetrack from afternoon to evening.
Helmet visor.
Yes.
I'm gonna back you up. Yeah. I'm just gonna stand over.
I'll stand over here underneath the light. I'll wave my arms around.
That works.
So this past week, I don't know if it's on our video or not, but it'll be repeated, or if not, news to everybody. We got out the track. We had a first round of practice, and then Mother Nature said, "You're gonna have a delight."
Oh yeah, no, this will all be in last week's video.
Kudos to the Riverhead Raceway officials, track crew, everybody out there who got the track dried, back racing in a relatively quick time.
I think by the end of it, we were maybe a half hour delayed from when we were supposed to start qualifying to when we actually did.
So, and they even went around, and Riverhead Raceway has a paved pit area. They actually sent out the dryer that they have, to try to blow away any standing water around the pits. Major kudos to the Riverhead officials, track crews, everybody out there that just 100% effort to get us racing, and we got the full night in. But the temperatures didn't drop, but we got delayed, and I actually raced my way into the feature this week.
Well, the air temperatures didn't drop, but the track temperature
the track temperature did drop a little.
Definitely did, because we noticed our tire temperatures were nowhere near where they had been.
So, and our feature kind of got, it was a lengthy feature because of numerous cautions.
Yeah, as the video showed last week, it was chaotic.
Towards the middle part of the race, the sun kind of went down, and I have a dark visor because we usually run in the afternoon to early evening, where the sun kind of like hits you right coming out of turn
where
2.
The sun looks just like that when you go into turn 2. Not that actually worked very well, but
so
when he's wearing dark sunglasses.
So now that I made
that are
a feature, we have to understand that I might have to change it to a
slightly lighter tint,
the amber one or clear one for the feature once the sun goes behind the grandstands. But anyway, that's again.
He survived. The car actually had, we didn't have to change a bumper this week. We had no new battle wounds. Surprising.
Oil splatter from
that's not.
You can see it.
I know you can see all of that. That is from our buddy, the 51.
Who did not blow up his motor. Unfortunately, a valve cover bolt stripped out.
One of these things.
And spewed oil.
It looked like he blew up.
Yes, he did.
And my immediate reaction was, what did you do to him?
I didn't do nothing.
This time. I mean, to be fair, you've had several opportunities.
I have not touched him.
Exactly. You've had several opportunities and you've put yourself into the wall.
Highlight reel. I didn't bend anything. Well, I bent a few things, but that's besides the point.
Last year, the first time you decided to try two-wheeling it on the straightaway.
Yes, and Samantha has highlights in our videos about all that stuff.
Oh, I make sure I highlight.
With Thrill Show days.
There will be, at the end of the season, there will be a highlight compilation.
So, we're just trying to get a handle and do more understanding of what changes are made to the car and how they react. Plus me learning how to drive, because last year's car, we'll go back to what I was trying to get to, the car was very loose. Going into the turns, the rear end was ready to snap out.
Like, he was the dirt tracker last year.
This year, I don't have a problem getting into the turn, whether it be the springs and setup that I put on the car, me not overdriving it, trying to pass everybody going into the turn, where at Riverhead Raceway, the only way you pass is on the inside coming out of the turns. Yes, it is a very narrow...
Or when the people you're racing spin themselves out.
Yeah, well, that's easy. So I am still used to getting to the point where I'm going into the turn and I'm expecting the rear end to come out on me, and it's not.
Until like the last 5 laps of, the heat race or the consi, when the tires get nice and hot, that's when you start. I can hear the tires screeching. I know I've pointed it out in previous videos. But, that's when it starts, but it's nowhere near as bad. The one time that he spun himself out this year so far, it was doing that pretty much every turn last year.
Yeah, I just, again, learning how to drive.
And when the track photographer goes, "Oh, I see you didn't make the highlight reel this week."
Yeah, So they're disappointed that I don't make the highlight reel, and that's okay.
Good, they're all good people.
So it's a learning process that we're learning. We're trying things. I know we're a sedan with a 1250. Everybody tells me I should be running on dirt tracks. The way my driving style apparently,
Well,
and
we should be, especially with the sedans. They're more dominant at the dirt tracks.
More tail happy to kick it out and go.
Well, that's what the extra bars back here, and
the 4-bar.
the fact that, and then the extra, part that comes out, it adds 9 pounds.
So, yes, 9 pounds doesn't seem like a lot, but in racing, every pound is a lot.
We joke about the guys having to go pee before the race because that couple of ounces is gonna make a difference.
Yes, or they have to eat a cheeseburger because they need more right side weight. But anyway, we're having a blast. I'm happy to be part of this division. I'm happy to be racing. There's nothing like a short track Saturday night, Friday night, whatever night you guys racing. One of the other guys I'm starting to get in touch with is AJ Bunch from Michigan. He's up racing a memorial race. I forgot the name of it. Good luck to you. I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
In the comment sections of your videos. Especially since he went from a 1250 sedan and now has
a FZ coupe.
Which is one of the things, when we get to that level, that's what we're considering. But hey, we now have found somebody who
has done the switch, and I'm asking him what he feels the difference between the motors. As he puts it, it's at the end of the straightaways where the FZ keeps on pulling, where the 1250 kind of flattens out. Now, on bigger racetracks, I agree with him 100%. I just got to find how to get grip in this car because I can spin my tires coming off the turns, and that's where I lose my time.
A prime example is when he kept going after his spin. Didn't quite 360 loop it, but kept going. And then everybody, even the commentators, if you watch us on Flow Racing, which you should, totally tune in and watch us and then listen because the commentators are also awesome. They were like, "Oh, good job to Statlander to keep it going." Yeah, and I'm like, "Ugh."
Yeah. It wasn't like I was going anywhere, but listen.
He kept it going. He stayed on the lead lap.
And I was catching the people in front of me. Which is, again, catching people and passing people is another thing that you don't realize how hard it is to do.
I'm leaning on the running board.
Yeah, no. I was just noticing something else from the car.
Great. How much is this? How much does this cost me?
It doesn't cost you anything. Another rattle can of paint. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
No, they're put away.
We have.
Yes, we have one out there.
Some of them.
But no, we're just, everybody says it's seat time, and that's what we're looking for.
It's seat time and shop time, as we're
Yes.
We've been talking for the last 15 minutes, and it's figuring out what does what, and if I touch this, figuring out the buttons and the knobs and the dials, and flip the lever crunk, and then hope it's not wrong lever. And
everybody has their setup, whether they hit upon it from years of trying or talking to other people, say, "Hey, I run this spring here or this gear there." We're well aware of everything. We are on a budget, and we, quote, hunt the front. It's new to us. Not new, but new to us.
And the fact that racing in general is such a personalized sport of you can put 3 different drivers in the exact same car and they're going to have different
opinions.
Yeah.
They want 3 different adjustments. And that's fine. That's great.
But it's what works for one person is not going to work. There is no one size fits all solution.
Especially now, and I keep saying this every video, and I will want people to understand that I am at this particular car, ran its fastest laps with the previous owner on our track at a 13.7. I am currently running consistently 14-1, 14-0 second laps, quarter mile, semi-high banked Riverhead Raceway.
And he has hit a couple of 13.9s.
So,
you know, that one off, like, oh man, that was a really good lap.
And this kid, who we bought the car off of, has been racing since he's been 5 years old. So he's a racer his whole life.
We miss you, Marsh. Come back and race.
And he's in his early 20s. I'm in my late 50s. So, yes,
really?
Well, that's another whole...
Real late 50s. How old are you now?
This is my last year in the 50s. Thank you very much.
And wouldn't you know it, folks? He barely looks a day over 51.
But the smile on my face just proves that, you know, I'm having a blast.
You know, the light makes your head look really weird. Your hair is so thin. It's just like whoosh.
So...
But yeah, no, we care more about the friends and the extended racing family that we make along the way.
Listen, there's about 5 to 6 of us that we know. So I'm running 14-0s. The fast guys on our track are running 13-3s, 13-4s, consistently, 13-5s in that area. I'm a half a second slower than these guys, but like I say all the time,
there's 20 of them.
There's 20 of them in front of me. So I know I pay attention to a lot of other tracks where they're happy to get 20 cars. We're disappointed when we get less than 30.
Because that means we don't get a consi.
So I understand it. Logistics, economics, everybody has their reasons why they don't show up every week.
And people have lives.
You know, I got it. I get it. I understand it all. Everybody tells me, oh, go race at this track. There's only 12 cars there. You make the feature and stuff like that.
That's not the point.
That's not where I want. I want to be against the guys at Riverhead because they all say, if you can win at Riverhead, and this is tour-type modifieds, late model guys, pro truck guys, street stock guys, we go anywhere else, if we have time to set up the car properly, we'll race against anybody and give them competition.
I'm probably going to offend people, but CJ Zukowski, street stock?
No, mini stocks.
Mini stocks. He was down
in Florida.
Yeah.
New Smyrna Speed Weeks.
Yes. I remember the guy's name.
Yes.
He, you know, pretty much dominated down there. He's a regular up at Riverhead.
So, to have 25 cars within 1 second of each other is pretty amazing.
We have maybe 25 to 30 cars
within 1 second of each other.
Oh yeah. And you know, quarter mile, you put your entire graduating class on the quarter mile track outside that y'all had to run the mile at, and we all hated it unless you were a jock type, and then but you know, you put your entire graduating class and say run full speed, you'll get the equivalent of the Legends cars.
Pretty much. So, it's...
And if you do that, send pictures because I can use a good laugh all the time.
So yeah, you know, how much money am I going to spend to gain a half a second? I'd rather run old tires and try and get into the 13.8, 13.9 bracket, and then when I get that kind of dialed in, throw on the new set of tires, and maybe they'll give me another tenth or two. AFCO shocks, we're not going to talk about. We just got 4 brand new tires, so everybody understands what's going on. But
there are the other 3. I'm like, here's one.
Okay. So that's why we're wrapping these, preserving them. We have a couple of big races at the end of the year that we're trying to get to.
We have the ISO 300 at Riverhead. That's our like capstone event.
We have our national qualifier in September. I will not be racing that event because I have a prior engagement in upstate New York.
I'll be there hanging out.
And then we have our ISO 300. And
if we can swing it, if we feel comfortable, if we can make the right arrangements. We would love to be able to participate in the Turkey Derby over at Wall Stadium because that is what he grew up watching with his dad. And
Yes.
that's what me and him did. And, you know, when I moved back home from college, he's like, hey, you want to go see the Turkey Derby? And I'm like, sure. And actually, appropriately enough, I'm wearing my Turkey Derby
Yes.
sweatshirt right now.
So, and the other racetrack that I will probably venture off to will be Bethel Motor Speedway.
At least while we're still with the open trailer, you know,
Yes.
something that's technically within a day's trip, even if it is, you know, an 18-hour day.
Yes.
I guess I'll have to learn how to drive the trailer.
And just stay on the highway and just stay within the lanes.
I can do that.
So that's it for now.
We'll be back tomorrow when we are doing some.
Putting on scales and making some final adjustments for our off week.
Which is why we're talking so much because
we do not have a race scheduled for tomorrow.
However, the
NASCAR Wheeling Tour Mod will be at Riverhead in honoring Mike Iwanisco, who I remember watching as he came up back then.
further proof that you're old.
The way my body feels after this week's worth of work, yeah, I am old.
I mean, you know, I unfortunately I'm feeling the same way.
I'm like, so anyway.
But yeah, that's it.
Peace out.